Welcome to the final episode of the Get to Know UFL teams. For those who've watched this, thank you. Thank you for following with me. I don't do this much often with the UFL teams, but here I am because here I am. That's why. This final episode is the St. Louis Battlehawks. They're led by newly head coach Ricky Porrell. Remember, he will take over this team after Anthony Beck, who I just mentioned in the last video, took over the Orlando Storm job. His offensive coordinator is AJ Smith, and Corey Chamberlain is his defensive coordinator. So when I look at for the roster, well, for the roster looks a little more of a, you know, the definition of, yeah, could they be the worst team? No, I mean anything is possible. Anything is possible. But so the biggest question is going to be quarterback. Who is going to be their starting quarterback for this year? Now you do have a guy in Brandon Silvers who's been in the St. Louis Battlehawks team for some of the time in spring, of course. He's been the backup also, so I could see him as the starter. And they also added Jordan Walters as, or excuse me, that's their running back. Ben Woodridge and Michael Pratt as their quarterback. So it's going to be a three-way competition. I think Ricky's going to give it to Brandon Silvers as the starting quarterback. I think the backup will probably be Ben Woodridge, and then Michael Pratt is going to be the third stringer. I think he's going to need a little more time if he's going to end up getting next year springtime for UFL teams. So what is Brandon Silvers working with? Well, you have running backs in Jordan Waters. You also have Kavan Latulis. His go-to guy is going to be Justin Smith, as well as Hakeem Butler, who Hakeem Butler has been really good for the Battlehawks. Defense, Lucas Borco, their cornerback, Carlos Davis, their defensive line, Michael Agamala as their free safety. I think this team's going to look a little new because of Anthony Beck's departure. But again, this is a team that has been in these title games before, but they fall a bit short for a chance to do it. So I'm going to say this for the St. Louis Battlehawks. I think they're going to be a team to keep an eye on for a playoff contention. I think that's going to be the question. They were founded on December 5th, 2018, which is 7 years ago. Their stadium is the Dome at America's Center. Because if you don't know where that stadium is, that stadium was the original home of the St. Louis Rams back in the NFL old times when they were the St. Louis Rams, and then they have to leave to go to Los Angeles. Makes too much sense. I wish St. Louis would be part of an expansion football league. Well, now you have it for the UFL. But as I mentioned, the best scenario is if Brandon Silvers plays very confident football, and this team goes out and gets wins like Orlando, Birmingham, Houston, DC. They couldn't get into the playoffs. Worst scenario, if the quarterback change carousel goes on, for example, Brandon plays only 3 games, then Ben Swolder plays like 3 more games, and then Michael Pratt finishes the season. This is a team that I do believe would be the worst team this year because of where this could go. That's their worst scenario. I do think their best scenario is if Brandon Silvers plays really well. And again, Hakeem Butler, he's a big man. He can moss any corner on every defense, and he feels like a tight end, but he's a big physical receiver. So I can see St. Louis in the playoffs, and I would be surprised if this team can get to the UFL championship game if they play very well through the regular season. If you've not seen my other videos, go check them out. Go check them out on my channel. Sorry. Um, they all 7 of them are in my channel, so go check them out. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more sports news.